She was just such a fighter in everything she did.
A 12-year-old figure skater who died in the January 29th American Airlines crash had previously beaten cancer. After American Eagle Flight 5342 collided with a helicopter mid-air on its way from Wichita, Kansas to Washington, D.C. January 29th, the father of 12-year-old Brielle Beyer, a victim of the fatal event, shares that she had already endured cancer as a 4-month-old. Andrew Beyer tells ABC News in a January 31st interview,
She was just such a fighter in everything she did, and she just lived life to the fullest with everything. She was so proud of herself in figure skating for the progress she had made, and that making that team was one of her life goals, and she achieved it, and she was just so proud of herself.
Andrew's wife, Justina, also died in the crash. She had joined their daughter on a trip to Kansas for a skating camp. In his interview with ABC News, he also recalls the moment he realized something had gone wrong with the flight.
My son and I were going to pick up my wife and daughter, and when it was time for the plane to land, they hadn't landed. We couldn't get text messages through. And I saw all the fire trucks and everything go by, and I knew. I called an air traffic controller friend of mine, and she confirmed it was their flight, and I knew. And I told my son, and I just didn't have a lot of hope, unfortunately. And we had a good cry about it right then and there, and then we had to go in with the family waiting room and everything before we, hours later, got any official word of what had fully happened.
The tragic deaths of Brielle and Justina were not the only lives lost in the horrific plane crash. There were 65 other victims in the disaster, including Christine Lane and her 16-year-old son Spencer Lane, the latter of whom shared an Instagram story shortly before takeoff of the jet's wing, writing ICT to DCA. In addition to Spencer and Brielle, there were 12 other figure skaters aboard the American Airlines flight as they traveled back from a development camp hosted by the U.S. Figure Skating Championships.